Let's explore these mysteries together in today's video. War, massacre, and unanswered mysteries on the island of Öland, off the coast of Sweden. Archaeological excavations have brought to light the remains of a massacre that took place around 1,500 years ago. What is left of the ancient fortifications, stone walls, and house foundations lies intertwined with unburied skeletons, all bearing the unmistakable marks of ancient weapons. Both genetic and archaeological data point to the annihilation of an entire community in a violent event with no evidence that anyone ever returned to live there afterward. No written records have survived. Only these material traces remain, leaving the questions of what happened, who was responsible, and why, still frustratingly unanswered. On the summit of Everest, the mystery surrounding the disappearance of two British climbers in 1924 continues to spark debate among scientists and historians alike. The body of George Mallory was found decades after the tragedy, but his companion, Andrew Irvine, and the camera they carried have never been recovered. Analyses, equipment, and the severe weather conditions at the time have led to numerous theories about their final moments. Yet the decisive proof whether they became the first people to reach Everest's peak before disaster struck remains elusive. Cyprus, divided by a buffer zone that separates the Greek and Turkish communities, is a stark testament to the lasting impact of war and territorial disputes on society and urban life. This zone has remained abandoned for nearly half a century, its buildings left to crumble beneath layers of dust and neglect. From a geopolitical perspective, it stands as living evidence of the persistent legacy of conflict. A place where boundaries and separation are enforced by international agreements and the constant presence of military forces. The waters of Somalia still rank among the most dangerous places in the world, plagued by piracy and chronic instability. Frequent attacks on merchant ships and fishing boats, along with the rise of armed groups, reflect the area's weak security and the far-reaching consequences of social conflict and competition over maritime resources. At the same time, deep within the Amazon rainforest in regions like the Javari Valley and along many remote borderlands, the threats of disappearances, crime, and violence persist, creating lawless zones and countless cases that remain forever unresolved. These places are marked not just by their violent histories, but also by the unanswered questions they pose, challenges for science and history to slowly unravel as we continue to seek out the causes and long-term effects of conflict on the world we live in today. Comet glass. Glass born from a cosmic visitor. Beneath the arid sky of the Atacama Desert, a geological discovery has dramatically shifted scientists' understanding of Earth's vulnerability to forces from beyond our planet. Long scattered bands of natural glass stretch across this vast sun-beaten land, their chemical signatures and embedded materials hinting at an extraordinarily rare extraterrestrial origin. The story began when researchers found clusters of dark glass lying atop the desert's yellow sands. Early theories suggested volcanic activity or the aftermath of massive wildfires, but detailed analyses soon ruled these out completely. Instead, in the collected samples, the research team uncovered minerals that can only form at extremely high temperatures, far beyond anything generated by any natural process previously observed on Earth's surface. To uncover the true source, scientists compared the Atacama glass with natural glass formed by meteorite impacts in other parts of the world. Their findings revealed a striking similarity in mineral makeup and microscopic structure. Most intriguingly, some samples contained tiny grains confirmed to be extraterrestrial in origin. including nickel-rich minerals and unusual iron compounds that simply do not occur through ordinary geological processes within the Earth. These discoveries offered compelling support for the hypothesis of a colossal comet explosion in Earth's atmosphere directly above the Atacama. According to physical simulations, some 12,000 years ago, a massive comet plunged into the atmosphere and broke apart at low altitude, releasing a heat so intense that sand and rocks on the ground vaporized and then instantaneously melted, solidifying on contact into thick, dark glass that blanketed the desert. These layers still preserve in perfect detail the chemical, physical, and microscopic fingerprints of that impact, living testimony to the cosmic violence that has shaped our planet. Yet, the importance of this discovery goes far beyond simply documenting a rare natural event. By analyzing the glass in detail, scientists have been able to reconstruct not only the intensity of the explosion, but also the chemical composition of the comet and the rapid cooling rates of the materials after impact. As a result, the Atacama glass has become an invaluable archive for understanding the interplay between Earth and small celestial bodies, opening new windows on the evolution of the planet's surface and on the catastrophic episodes that have shaped climate and life through deep time. Each layer of pristine glass, still lying beneath the relentless sun and wind of the Atacama, endures as a physical imprint of a distant cosmic encounter. A vivid reminder that Earth is never truly isolated, but is bound within a complex web of cosmic relationships where every event from the wider universe may leave an indelible trace upon our world. The ancient beekeeping village of Iraq, isolated among the rugged mountains of Iraq, lies the ancient beekeeping village of Alawari, a site of rare archaeological importance for the history of apiculture in the Middle East. Constructed entirely from stone, every dwelling in Alawari is shaped like a giant beehive, each connected to its neighbor, forming a sprawling cluster stretched across the mountainside. This unique architecture allowed the village to withstand harsh weather and made it possible to maximize space for large-scale honey production. This, in turn, was the foundation of the ville's economic and social life. Archaeology has revealed that Al-Awari's building techniques developed in tandem with a beekeeping tradition stretching back for millennia. Evidence lies in the thousands of small cavities carved deep into the rock walls, designed specifically to house hives, ingeniously boosting honey yields and making it easier to manage the bees. Studies indicate that apiculture in this region has been practiced continuously for at least 8,000 years, highlighting the enduring importance of this craft in both the economy and traditional medicine of ancient Mesopotamia. Honey here was not merely food but served in religious rituals, healing and trade, a testament to the multifaceted role of beekeeping in early civilization. Ultimately, Alloy was abandoned when its water sources ran dry, offering a window into the powerful effects of climate change and dwindling resources on ancient communities. As the ecosystem shifted, not just beekeeping, but every part of daily life was forced to adapt, leading to the end of a once thriving center built on ancient skills. This migration is captured in the traces left behind: empty houses, deserted hives, and the silent absence of bees, a moving illustration of the deep bond between humanity and the land it inhabits. Today, the remains of Alawarii help archaeologists understand not only the technical sophistication of its builders, but also the broader story of beekeeping's development, showing how ancient societies managed resources and adapted to changing environments. The village stands as a striking case study of economic and social development, as well as the environmental challenges faced by the peoples of Mesopotamia thousands of years ago. The secret void. Recent investigations using advanced scanning technology have revealed the existence of massive voids inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, spaces that until now had lain utterly undetected. The Scan Pyramids project, in collaboration with international scientists and Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities, employed muon tomography, a technique akin to a cosmic ray CT scan, to peer inside the pyramid structure without invasive digging. The results showed a hidden chamber nearly 30 m long, situated above the Grand Gallery and near the King's Chamber, entirely separate from any previously known rooms or passages. This void is not connected to any tunnels or storage spaces recorded by archaeologists. Its true nature and original purpose remain a mystery. Some theories suggest it may have been intended to relieve pressure on the chambers below, or perhaps it represents an unused element of the complex architectural system devised by the ancient Egyptians. Others speculate it could still harbor undiscovered artifacts, or served a special role in rituals, or perhaps in safeguarding the secrets of Egypt's lost civilization. The discovery of such a large void raises fresh questions about ancient engineering skills and the original intent behind the pyramid's intricate spaces. More importantly, it marks a turning point in archaeology, showing how non-invasive technologies can help unlock the secrets of ancient monuments while preserving their integrity. For now, the true meaning and contents of the Great Pyramid's hidden spaces remain one of the most tantalizing puzzles in the scientific world. Hidden archaeological sites beneath the earth of ancient landscapes. Archaeological sites are slowly unveiled, each new layer revealing secrets buried by centuries of history. On the banks of the Nile, the mass graves of tombos have opened new chapters on Egypt's expansion southward, revealing not only Egyptian power, but also the patterns of cultural exchange with local communities. The scale and style of the tombs here allow researchers to reconstruct long-term migrations and alliances stretching across generations. Far from Nubia, the Isai site in Anatolia displays a different cross-section of history, bearing the imprint of Greek influence and the traces of multiple waves of urbanization. The artifacts unearthed here help scholars piece together the region's urban development and verify the shifting tides of imperial power and religious transformation along the Mediterranean rim. In the buried city of Pompeii, the volcanic eruption preserved houses, everyday items, and glimpses of daily Roman life in remarkable detail. Each decoded artifact paints a portrait of a vibrant urban society at the very height of its prosperity moments before it vanished from the world map in a single catastrophe. Meanwhile, excavations at Tana in Greece document the aftermath of war-driven migrations. Cities born from the flow of history, each layer of pottery and ancient coins deep below the soil, marking a new chapter in the region's past. In Petra, the Middle East's legendary city carved into rose-red rock, intricate waterworks, and mountain-cut architecture bear witness to a society skilled at adapting to unforgiving conditions and to the desert trade routes that once brought wealth across continents. Each artifact found here is a window into sweeping changes in religion and economy in this marginal land. At Saqqara in Egypt, layer upon layer of archaeology spanning countless dynasties offers an uninterrupted view of power shifting and of Egypt's steady march of technical progress. Every level beneath the ground forms a vital link in the story of a society in constant motion, from its origins to its eventual decline. Taken together, each site is far more than a vault of buried objects. They are the connecting threads between distant lands, chronicling the rise and disappearance of ancient centers of power. Each stratum and every artifact revealed through the passage of time lays the foundation for science to keep unraveling the great mysteries of humanity, of changing environments, and of the tides of history that cross all boundaries. Builders before the Great Flood. Some theories suggest that the Great Pyramid of Giza may have originated far earlier than officially acknowledged by mainstream history, and that it could even predate the legendary Great Flood described in the Bible. According to archaeological records and historical accounts, the pyramid was constructed around 2550 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, taking just 3 decades to complete. Yet, when this timeline is compared to ancient sources and mythic milestones, especially the story of the Great Flood, significant questions remain unresolved. In the Bible, the flood is said to have occurred around 350 BC. If the archaeological dating is correct, this would mean that the Great Pyramid was already standing before this massive deluge swept through Mesopotamia and the Middle East. Such a discrepancy raises profound questions about the true origins of the pyramid, its original builders, and its function in that shadowy epoch. If the flood was a real event that once swept the ancient world, then monuments like the Giza Pyramid might be relics from a lost prehistoric civilization, one that was erased or scattered in the wake of natural disaster. Numerous researchers, when analyzing the pyramid's construction techniques and geometric formulas, have pointed to features that surpass what is recorded of ancient Egyptian technology. Their findings have led to the hypothesis that a prehistoric people or a Proto-Egyptian civilization with advanced knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and large-scale engineering may have designed, built, or laid the foundations of the pyramid, with later pharaonic dynasties merely inheriting, restoring, or repurposing these ancient structures. The inability to definitively identify the pyramid's original creators and the overlapping dates found in archaeology and legend has made the Great Pyramid of Giza an enduring symbol of the unsolved mysteries of human history. The persistence of alternative theories is a sign that the search must continue, drawing together archaeology, geology, mythology, and materials science, in hopes of finally understanding when, why, and how this monumental structure arose and what role it played in the march of civilization. The mysterious black boxes. During explorations near the Great Pyramid of Giza, researchers uncovered dozens of massive black granite boxes, each far beyond the transport or engineering capacities of most known ancient cultures. Each box weighs more than 100 tons, carved in a single piece with a level of precision rarely matched. The edges, planes, and contact surfaces are almost perfectly true, with no discernible error. Granite is among the hardest stones on Earth, extremely difficult to quarry and shape. This only deepens the question: what technologies or methods did the ancient Egyptians possess? Many scientific hypotheses suggest that cutting and polishing granite on such a scale would have required technologies or tools far surpassing anything associated with the Bronze or Iron Ages. Some researchers maintain that only advanced machinery or powerful energy sources could have produced such massive stoneworks. Or perhaps that the ancients possessed techniques lost to modern science. Debate continues. Some scholars believe the Egyptians developed extraordinary indigenous techniques, while others wonder if outside knowledge or even something more extraordinary played a part. The greater mystery is the true purpose of these granite boxes. Some Egyptologists argue they were crafted as burial places for sacred apis bulls, revered creatures in the ancient religion. Yet, most of the boxes found contain no remains at all. Some modern studies propose that these objects might once have been used as resonant chambers, energy storage devices, or played unique roles in rituals or belief systems. Yet so far, their original function remains unknown. The discovery and analysis of these immense granite boxes not only adds to the mysteries of ancient craftsmanship, but also fuels interdisciplinary research, bringing together archaeology and the history of technology in the quest to understand the real limits of ancient innovation. These ongoing studies continue to expand our knowledge of what early civilizations achieved and invite us to question what ancient knowledge may still lie hidden, waiting to be rediscovered. The origin of domestic chickens and why did the chicken cross the road? The story of the domestic chicken, one of the world's most common animals, is inseparable from the rise of agriculture in Southeast Asia. Archaeological finds, including ancient chicken bones and eggshell fragments from sites across Thailand, show that chickens were first domesticated there around the 2nd millennium B.C. This breakthrough coincided with the spread of rice cultivation as early societies began planting rice in flooded fields, ushering in a new era of food management and social organization. Genetic analysis and archaeological evidence confirm that the direct ancestor of the domestic chicken is the red jungle fowl native to Southeast Asia. Over generations, a process of natural and human selection gradually transformed wild birds drawn by spilled rice and adapting to life near people. They eventually became fixtures in ancient farming communities. Sites along the Mekong River and in southern China have yielded ancient chicken bones and eggshells, confirming the birds spread in tandem with rice farming. These finds also reveal how the chicken's journey followed paths of trade, technology, and experience between early Southeast Asian societies, laying the groundwork for one of Asia's first major cultural exchange networks. Later, through ancient trade routes, especially the Silk Road, domesticated chickens made their way to India, then into Central Asia and eventually reached Europe. Researchers have found traces of chicken bones and eggshells in distant lands along these trade corridors, confirming the animal's migration across multiple great civilizations. In Europe, the arrival of the chicken marked a turning point in both cuisine and religious ritual, linking cultures through this humble, resilient companion in everyday life. The universe as a laboratory. In the field of modern cosmology, some scientists have proposed the idea that our entire universe could be the product of an artificial creation, an experiment crafted by a super-advanced civilization inside a controlled laboratory setting. This theory draws on the universe's mathematical and logical properties, especially its near-perfect flat geometry and the astonishing fine-tuning of its physical constants, which make the emergence of matter and life possible. The idea of the universe as a laboratory stems from arguments that to initiate a universe, such a civilization would need to master quantum laws, control energy on an unimaginable scale, and exploit phenomena like quantum tunneling. This process would require knowledge far beyond our own and the ability to set the universe's initial conditions, trigger a Big Bang, and then allow physical laws to run their course according to a predetermined scenario. Under this model, the cosmos, as we know, it is just one small region within a much larger ensemble of parallel or multiple universes, each perhaps the outcome of repeated experiments like test runs in a scientific lab. Every universe could be fine-tuned with different physical constants and natural laws, allowing the creators to explore different hypotheses about matter and life. Although this idea remains well beyond the reach of experimental proof, it has sparked lively debate about the origin, structure, and ultimate purpose of the universe. It also challenges us to consider humanity's place within the broader cosmos and the limits of our ability to comprehend the true nature of the world we inhabit. Ancient pastoral camps in Iran. Archaeological discoveries in Iran's highlands have revealed the remnants of an ancient herring camp dating back some 7,000 years, located at more than 2,400 m above sea level. This is one of the oldest pastoral sites in Western Asia, evidence of how early humans adapted to the harsh conditions of the plateau. Excavated remains, architecture, stone tools, animal bones, and layers of fossilized earth show that this camp was a seasonal dwelling for semi-nomadic communities at the end of the Neolithic. The evidence reveals how groups would move flexibly with the seasons, bringing their herds up to mountain pastures in summer for the rich grazing, then descending to lower elevations as winter approached. This gave rise to a semi-nomadic lifestyle, combining herd movement with short-term settlement in strategic locations. Remains of tent circles, butchery sites, fire pits, and food processing tools outline a closed cycle of daily life in which livestock played the crucial role providing reliable food, economic stability, and a store of wealth for the community. These highland camps also fostered specialization, creating groups dedicated to herring, food preservation, water management, and the organization of society in small units. This transition marks a major step away from pure hunting and gathering toward deliberate animal management and the beginnings of agricultural settlement. Intensive use of the highlands reflects the creative adaptation of early humans, paving the way for permanent villages and the emergence of stable farming societies throughout Western Asia. Taken as a whole, these ancient herring camps are vivid evidence of humanity's transition from nomadism to settlement. They stand as milestones in agricultural history, testaments to the ingenuity and resilience of people as they adapted to new landscapes and laid the groundwork for the sustainable societies that would shape the Middle East for thousands of years to come. Aliens in the sewer. During a routine inspection of the sewer system in Raleigh, a team of environmental engineers made a strange discovery captured by a probe camera deep beneath the city streets. The camera revealed clusters of material clinging to the tunnel walls, pulsing and contracting as if a live mass that at first glance brought to mind something alien. Its form unlike any familiar animal found above ground. Biologists who analyzed the samples identified them as colonies of countless tiny earthworms living pressed tightly together in an environment deprived of oxygen and minerals, but rich in organic compounds flowing in from the city above. Each worm connects firmly to its neighbors, forming a concentrated community perfectly adapted to these harsh underground conditions. This collective behavior enables the worms to maintain metabolism while sheltering each other from sudden changes in temperature, flow, or the presence of chemicals in wastewater. Discoveries like this demonstrate that urban environments, far from being only destructive, can also foster new ecological niches, where certain species exploit resources overlooked by humans. The emergence of large communal invertebrate structures deep below the Earth's surface reveals just how diverse survival strategies can be in modern ecosystems. Such phenomena also broaden the scientific perspective on life's potential to thrive in places with limited light, oxygen, or space, paralleling hypotheses about the possible conditions for life on other planets. This finding highlights the intricate connection between urbanization and the silent activity of microorganisms and soil-dwelling animals within man-made systems. Further research into such communities may yield valuable insights for urban biology, as well as help predict potential environmental health risks to those living above these hidden subterranean networks. Unsolved dangerous places on the world map. There remain mysterious locations marked by danger, isolation, or strict prohibitions. Herb Island, set in the southern reaches of the Indian Ocean, is entirely uninhabited. This harsh climate makes any approach nearly impossible. Most of what is known comes from satellite images and international maritime surveys. No one has ever settled there or conducted extensive field research. In South Asia, India's KY Hills are notorious for their treacherous terrain with one of the region's highest accident rates. Dense fog, unpredictable roads, and steep, endless slopes make this place a true challenge for anyone seeking to pass through or live nearby. In Australia, Cape Tribulation appears as a remote coastal stretch cut off from the interior, notable for its diverse yet dangerous ecosystem. Venomous marine creatures, powerful riptides, and frequent flooding have severely limited human activity. Despite the presence of nature trails and ecological research stations since the early 21st century, strict conservation regulations shield the area from overdevelopment and the pressures of mass tourism. In the United States, Granite Mountain Vault in Utah is a vast archive dug deep into solid granite by the Mormon Church to preserve religious manuscripts and critical historical records. Every activity within is tightly controlled. Only select individuals are allowed access and all information is shrouded in strict secrecy. The Woomer Range Complex in Central Australia is among the largest military testing sites in the world, covering tens of thousands of square kilometers. It is central to the development of weapons and missiles by multiple nations. The entire region is completely closed to civilians. Admission is granted only to military-approved operations to ensure national security and technological secrecy. In Jerusalem, the Dome of the Rock stands as one of the world's most iconic religious structures. Built in the late 7th century atop the Temple Mount, this sacred place is at the center of faith and history for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Today, only Muslims are allowed inside the sanctuary, and archaeological or scientific research must secure complex multi-party approval. Cyprus's buffer zone is a United Nations-controlled military corridor that stretches across the island, dividing Greek and Turkish communities since the military conflict of the 1970s. The zone is uninhabited. Its abandoned buildings and wild ecosystem evolving freely access is strictly forbidden to prevent renewed conflict. In Ethiopia, an ancient church in Axum is said to guard the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred relic of Judaism. Only a single guardian is ever allowed into the relic chamber, and not even priests may enter. This restriction only deepens the mystery and controversy surrounding the relic's origins and authenticity through the millennia. These sites are not just boundaries, natural or religious, but also symbols of human limits, where science, faith, and security intertwine, whether shaped by nature or enforced by law. Each place poses unique questions for those who seek to explore and unravel the world's enduring mysteries. Abandoned cities and nations. Many cities and countries that once stood as centers of power or worship have through the tides of history been utterly abandoned. These transitions are often linked to war, shifting trade routes, and prolonged religious conflict. Archaeological evidence reveals once thriving metropolises with dense populations, advanced infrastructure, and complex social organization that vanished after one or two great upheavals, leaving only ruins scattered across the landscape. In the Middle East, The rise and fall of classical city-states is closely tied to centuries of conflict. Many once important trading hubs that controlled major continental routes have become forbidden zones. Their remnants now half buried in desert sands or layers of sediment. In Eastern Europe and Western Asia, ancient city fortresses such as Ani in Armenia, once a key point on the Silk Road, now survive only as crumbling walls overlooking empty valleys. Ghosts of cities that once dominated medieval commerce. Balkan settlements and ancient Egyptian cities alike have gone through cycles of prosperity and abandonment, often due to migration or long occupations. Across Asia, riverbanks and fertile plains saw the rise of powerful civilizations. But environmental change, internal strife, or population movements turned many into silent, crumbling vestiges. In North Africa and the Middle East, abandoned cities preserve multiple cultural layers from antiquity to the Middle Ages. Many still retain temples or sacred traces, forming a priceless record for archaeology and cultural studies. The disappearance of these urban centers meant not only a dramatic shift in population and trade networks, but also changes to local ecology and patterns of regional development. In many cases, abandoned areas quickly became refuge for wildlife or no-go zones due to the lingering effects of war, environmental hazards, or security restrictions. Some places have been excavated, revealing sequences of events and helping to reconstruct the rise and fall of lost civilizations. From an interdisciplinary perspective, each abandoned city or nation is not just the product of a single event, but a window into a complex ecosystem of history where nature and politics shape each other, leaving lasting marks on humanity's collective memory. Studying these places expands our understanding of human adaptation and decline over time while providing valuable data for risk assessment and sustainable planning for modern cities. Famous heritage and historical artifacts. Many historical artifacts from St. Patrick's Bell in Ireland to the London Hammer in Texas have long fascinated scientists and archaeologists. St. Patrick's Bell is tied to the spread of Christianity in Ireland. It is not only a symbol of faith, but a tangible marker of a pivotal cultural transition, preserving the memory of evangelism and communal ritual. Its discovery and preservation over centuries reflect both historical value and the ability to retain information about ancient societies and their religious practices. The London Hammer has sparked debate over its age and origin. While found encased in ancient rock believed to be millions of years old, analysis shows the materials and techniques used fit the modern era. Research into how limestone can precipitate around objects has helped clarify the phenomenon, while also providing insights into similar events in other parts of the world. Archaeological finds at Pompeii and in Greece continue to expand our knowledge of ancient life. In Pompeii, excavation has preserved houses, household items, and even the imprints of residents, allowing scientists to reconstruct a vivid picture of Roman urban life. In Egypt, tombs and manuscripts buried for millennia provide a rich source for unraveling the history of Nile civilization. In Greece, relics from temples or collections of ancient statues reveal the complexity of spiritual life, artistry, and social organization in the ancient world. Such treasures serve as black boxes of history, preserving records of environments, technology, and human thought through the ages. Their study, conservation, and analysis not only serve science, but help shape cultural identity and our understanding of how the world's great civilizations arose and evolved. The Crannog Artificial Island Heritage. Recent studies of Crannog's artificial islands in Ireland and Scotland have reshaped our view of prehistoric society. Once thought to be common dwellings for ancient peoples, built from timber and natural materials on lakes, new archaeological evidence, especially ancient DNA from mud beneath the islands, shows they were not community residences in the usual sense. Fossil and organic material analysis reveals that Crannogs mostly belong to powerful families, often the upper class of Neolithic society. Fine artifacts, exquisite pottery, and evidence of lavish feasts are frequently found here in sharp contrast to finds at shoreline settlements. Notably, genetic samples from 3 archaeological sites reveal a highly stratified society. Crannog inhabitants were closely related and likely formed lineages that held significant power and wealth. These islands were constructed with meticulous care, featuring sturdy defenses and wooden bridges, both to ensure safety and to signal their owner's status. Their continued use over generations points to a stable network of power where elite groups chose to remain apart from the broader community. These discoveries illuminate not only the way of life but also the social structure of prehistoric Western Europe. The Crannog has become a symbol of power, wealth, and strategic control of resources in the ancient world, fundamentally changing our understanding of the organization and hierarchy within societies that once lived on these remarkable artificial islands. Red pigment production on Easter Island. New archaeological discoveries on Easter Island have transformed our understanding of the rise and fall of Rapa Nui culture. Through analysis of large-scale red pigment extraction pits, scientists have determined that the production of this pigment continued even as most of the island's natural resources became severely depleted. The red pigment was primarily obtained from clay rich in iron oxide and was widely used in religious rituals in shaping divine figures and in decorating the Moai statues. Remarkably, the red pigment pits were found in soil layers containing fossilized palm roots, indicating that this craft persisted even after the island's forests had been almost entirely destroyed. This evidence shows that the Rapa Nui people maintained the production and use of red pigment on a grand scale despite harsh natural conditions and critical shortages of resources. This archaeological evidence challenges the traditional hypothesis that Easter Island civilization collapsed simply due to resource exhaustion. On the contrary, the native culture demonstrated resilience and continuity, as seen through ritual and symbolic production activities that continued even amid environmental crisis. New research has opened another perspective on the adaptability of ancient communities and highlighted the need to consider social, spiritual, and environmental factors when analyzing the causes of upheaval in isolated civilizations. Cambodia's treasure hunters. The story of Cambodia's treasure hunters reflects the complicated reality of cultural heritage protection in Southeast Asia. For decades, priceless relics from Khmer civilization and other ancient dynasties in Cambodia have become targets for illegal looting groups. The collapse of social structures during periods of political instability created the conditions for the rampant excavation of artifacts from deep jungle temples to ruins never before studied by archaeologists. These hunts for relics go far beyond the local scale. Items of archaeological and artistic value, stone statues, jewelry, ritual objects have been smuggled out of Cambodia via professional trafficking networks linked to international markets. Artifacts are then laundered with forged documentation and appear at major auction houses in Europe and even within the collections of renowned museums. Behind this network lies a sophisticated collaboration among diggers, intermediaries, and sometimes even individuals within local authorities. Tracing the origins and recovering stolen artifacts remains a difficult challenge for both Cambodian officials and the international community. However, in recent years, thanks to cross-border cooperation, many important artifacts have been identified and returned to Cambodia, helping to raise awareness of heritage conservation and curb the transnational trade in antiquities. The reality of illegal artifact trafficking in Cambodia is a stark warning about the irreversible loss of human heritage unless strong coordinated solutions are implemented among nations and the scientific community. Amazon people with rabies immunity. Recent studies on indigenous communities deep in the Peruvian Amazon have led to a remarkable discovery about human immunity to rabies. When researchers tested blood samples from isolated groups living here, they found that some individuals possessed specific antibodies against the rabies virus, a virus that is nearly always fatal without timely treatment. Experts say these antibodies are extremely rare among other populations worldwide. Natural immunity to rabies is virtually unheard of in modern medicine. This ability is thought to be the result of generations of exposure to natural sources of infection such as vampire bats common in the Amazon and a primary carrier of rabies. Residents in this region may have developed a defensive mechanism through evolutionary adaptation, allowing their immune systems to recognize and neutralize the virus more efficiently. Genetic analysis of individuals with these antibodies has revealed unique sequences in immune-mediated protein coding regions, hinting at biological adaptation to a dangerous environment. This discovery not only opens new paths for research into natural immunity, but also gives scientists new insight into how rabies prevention might be enhanced in humans. If the mechanism behind these unique antibodies can be identified, it could lead to improved strategies for rabies prevention and treatment, especially in areas where the disease remains a constant threat. With this research, the concept of biological limits is once again expanded. The story of the Amazon people's special immunity stands as proof of human resilience and opens new possibilities for medical science that remain hidden within traditional communities. The flying carpet legend. The legend of the flying carpet originates in Eastern civilizations, most famously woven into the folklore of Arabia and Persia. The flying carpet first appeared in ancient tales like 101 Nights, where it is described as a vehicle that allows heroes to travel instantly across vast lands needing neither human nor animal power. The deeper origins of the flying carpet symbol are believed to be linked to ancient societies skilled in weaving and fabric dyeing. According to records, some Persian legends mention special carpets woven with secret techniques, possibly combined with natural minerals to grant them strange powers. Some mythic texts even speak of magicians or alchemists who harnessed ancient knowledge of physics and chemistry to make carpets fly using interactions between magnetic fields and natural materials. Modern theories about the technology behind flying carpet legends suggest that these stories reflect humanity's imagination about transportation devices far beyond the limits of their time. Some believe the flying carpet is a symbolic memory of a lost technology or forgotten scientific understanding. Perhaps an ancient mastery of magnetism or air currents to lift objects off the ground. Certain Eastern epic scholars even connect the legend with accounts of flying machines or strange contraptions once used by ancient civilizations retold and transformed over generations into the image of the flying carpet. From a social science perspective, the flying carpet reflects humanity's longing to conquer space and transcend material limits. Its presence in mythology highlights the role of imagination and faith in the possible and raises questions about ancient knowledge that has vanished or has yet to be fully understood. Stone Age tattoo technology. The discovery of tattoos on the mummified body of the Iceman has opened a new perspective on prehistoric tattoo technology, and its connections to traditional medicine. C. Who lived more than 5,000 years ago in the Alps, was naturally preserved in ice and is one of the most thoroughly studied archaeological specimens in the world. On his body, scientists identified a total of 61 tattoos scattered in various places. Technical analysis shows these tattoos were not made by cutting and rubbing in charcoal as previously believed, but by a hand-poke technique. Charcoal pigment was directly inserted into the skin with a sharp instrument, creating simple lines mostly straight or crossed. Histological studies and material analysis indicate that the pigment was low-temperature burned plant charcoal, extremely fine and with excellent color retention. The uniformity in depth and placement of the tattoos suggests the practitioner understood skin structure and worked with deliberate skill. Remarkably, tattoos are located on areas prone to strain or pain, coinciding with points later used in acupuncture therapy. Some scientific theories propose that these tattoos were not just decorative or ritualistic, but served a medicinal function, a primitive form of acupuncture aimed at relieving pain or treating chronic ailments. This discovery proves that Stone Age humans developed sophisticated techniques and applied natural knowledge for both health and self-expression. It is the earliest direct evidence of tattoos as a traditional therapy in Europe and reflects the long journey of cosmetic and therapeutic technologies through thousands of years of human history. The beheaded Egyptian mummy. The discovery of a beheaded mummy inside a Middle Kingdom Egyptian tomb has raised numerous questions about the circumstances and historical context behind this unusual state. The deceased has been identified as a local governor based on surviving inscriptions on the coffin and the burial location within a tomb complex reserved for the ruling class. However, the condition of the body shows that the head was separated and placed just above the coffin lid while the rest of the body lay in the corner of the tomb, suggesting an intentional act rather than an accident. Researchers believe that the removal and rearrangement of the head was not the result of typicalary rites, but may have stemmed from internal social conflict or acts of hostility within ancient Egyptian society. Some theories propose this may have been a form of posthumous punishment or an attempt to diminish the individual's status after death, as well as to prevent the deceased from achieving wholeness in the afterlife according to ancient Egyptian beliefs. Additionally, evidence that the face of the mummy was altered during the embalming process suggests further intentional manipulation of identity. DNA analysis of the teeth and skull helped to determine gender and relationships with others buried in the tomb. But researchers have not yet been able to conclusively establish the final identity due to recurring names among governors of the period. Nevertheless, this finding offers rare insight into power struggles and funerary customs in ancient Egypt, showing how intervention with the remains of the dead could reflect shifts in religious belief and social rivalry within the community. The legend of Egypt's Hall of Records. The story of the Hall of Records beneath the Sphinx at Giza has long fascinated generations of researchers and archaeology enthusiasts around the world. According to this theory, beneath the bedrock of the Giza Plateau lies a special chamber housing documents said to contain all the knowledge, history, and achievements of a pre-Egyptian civilization. This idea is rooted mainly in the accounts of early 20th century Western psychics and in speculation about mysterious underground structures occasionally detected by modern technology using ground-penetrating radar. However, all official excavations by Egyptian and international archaeological teams since the 19th century have found no physical evidence for the existence of such a hall of records. The stone cavities and voids that have been documented are all natural formations or auxiliary chambers created during the construction of the Sphinx and surrounding monuments. In fact, nearly all historical records from ancient Egypt have been preserved on papyrus stone stelae and in major temples spread along the Nile Valley. The myth of the Hall of Records itself reflects a deep-seated desire to seek a supernatural origin for Egypt's achievements and is a hallmark of an era when humanity yearned to decode the mysteries of ancient knowledge. While scientific proof is lacking, this story continues to spark imagination and drive archaeological exploration, broadening our understanding of Giza's past and of humanity's enduring quest for civilization's roots. Excavation of Yuan dynasty tombs in China. Archaeologists in China have excavated 35 ancient tombs dating from the Yuan dynasty, including several featuring stone structures and wall paintings that still retain vivid colors and intricate detail. Analysis of the burial objects, porcelain, coins, and other grave goods reveals a diversity of origins and an integration of many artistic styles. These tombs stand as evidence of the intense cultural interaction between the Han Chinese and the Mongols after the Yuan dynasty unified the land. The tombs belong to several generations of a single lineage, most displaying traditional Han burial customs, but also incorporating new elements that reflect the adaptation and absorption of Mongol culture into society. On the tomb walls, scenes of daily life, wagon motifs, and images of nature and animals show the influence of both traditions, demonstrating the power of the family, as well as their links to the Mongol ruling court. Dated inscriptions and descriptions of funeral rituals allow researchers to reconstruct parts of the social and religious world of Yuan-era elites. These findings shed light not only on changing burial practices, but also on the dynamics of Chinese society under the powerful forces of East Asian and Central Asian cultural exchange in the medieval period. Mysterious Amazonian rock art along the river banks of Tocantins State in northern Brazil. Archaeologists have discovered 16 sites containing ancient rock art thousands of years old. On these stone surfaces, engravings and paintings of human footprints, animal tracks, and stylized celestial forms are woven together in enigmatic patterns that have never been fully deciphered. These artifacts are not merely evidence of the carving or painting skills of ancient Amazonian peoples. They reflect a profound spiritual life and a unique cosmic worldview. The repetition of certain symbols across many rock faces suggests that local communities once shared a structured belief system or religion. Footprints and celestial bodies are more than representations of the natural world. They may have played a role in rituals or in transmitting collective memory across generations. Beyond clear engravings, researchers have found traces of faded red pigment, evidence of the development of painting and dyeing techniques in prehistoric times. Some designs are now blurred by age, yet their basic shapes remain, hinting at various stages of creation, and perhaps a legacy passed between successive communities over millennia. The true meaning of these symbols is still unresolved. No one knows for sure whether the marks record ancient stories or simply serve as territorial signs. Even so, these discoveries reveal that long before the rise of great civilizations, the Amazon was already a crossroads of complex belief systems mirroring humanity's search for meaning and its place in nature. This work continues to challenge researchers to unlock the cultural legacy of one of South America's oldest and most mysterious regions. Sarcophagi and hoards of gold in the Middle East. The excavation of tombs and treasure hoards across the Middle East continues to deepen our knowledge of ancient power structures, economic operations, and religious practices. One notable discovery is the monolithic stone sarcophagus of Tia, the treasurer who served under Pharaoh Ramses II in the 13th century B.C. This sarcophagus was unearthed in the ancient cemetery of Saqqara. The tomb's entrance lay deep underground, accessible only after days of clearing away sand and rock. Evidence of both advanced construction and the sophisticated protection reserved for Egypt's social elite. The inscriptions and depictions of deities carved on the sarcophagus affirm Tyr's exceptional status in the kingdom's financial administration and his direct connection to the pharaoh. At the same time in Israel, archaeologists discovered a hoard of gold coins buried beneath the ruins of a Byzantine city. The treasure includes 44 gold coins dating from the 7th century, a period of major upheaval as the Byzantine Empire declined and Islamic conquests began to sweep the region. Study of the coins allows clear identification of the Eastern Roman emperors depicted, providing direct evidence of economic activity and the historical context of the era. The act of burying this wealth also reflects how local people responded to military and social turmoil and raises questions about the fate of the owners who never returned to reclaim their treasure. Both discoveries illustrate the central role of financial officials in ancient civilizations. The custom of burying the elite with precious objects or storing treasures for safekeeping speaks to the trust, authority, and stability of these societies, and to the ability to accumulate and protect wealth despite the pressures of time and history. In this way, such archaeological finds do more than record individual stories. They help decode the systems that once powered some of the most advanced cultures ever to flourish in this ancient land. The oldest map in the world. In 1966, buried in the soil of the Ukrainian plains, a small artifact opened a new chapter in the history of photography. It was a segment of mammoth ivory etched with delicate lines dated by archaeologists to around 12,000 years ago. On the curved surface of the ivory, symbols and carved markings appear to recreate the layout of a riverside settlement, showing the positions of dwellings and a waterway cutting across the steppe. The map was found at the Mesherik site where prehistoric people built large huts from mammoth bones instead of wood. Dozens of such structures and the remains of massive animals were unearthed there together with layers of ancient hearth ash. Each hut was framed and walled with mammoth skulls, shoulder blades or ribs providing stability against the harsh cold climate. This oldest known map is not just a testament to the spatial thinking of prehistoric people. It reveals their powers of observation and their ability to represent the world around them. The carved symbols indicate the location of homes and offer clues about how these communities organized their lives and safeguarded water sources. Archaeological evidence at Mesherik points to a close bond between people and their environment, as well as the use of lasting materials like ivory to record and transmit information across generations. Thus, this artifact forms a bridge between the memory of prehistoric communities and modern science, laying the foundation for the development of map-making and helping unravel the lifestyles, social structures, and relationship with nature at the dawn of civilization. Abandoned ancient cities. Kayakoi in Turkey and Ani in Armenia are two ancient cities that once played crucial roles in population and religious life across many eras. Both experienced dramatic geopolitical changes, foreign interventions, and watershed events such as war and natural disaster. For Kayakoi, the most significant turning point was the population exchange between Turkey and Greece in the early 20th century, which forced residents to abandon a settlement that had long been home to diverse faith communities. Houses, schools, and public buildings remain as direct evidence of this massive migration. Ani was once the center of the medieval Armenian kingdom, thriving in trade, the arts, and architecture, but it gradually weakened after waves of foreign invasion and shifts in trade routes. The city became desolate, its grand structures reduced to ruins. The present-day site preserves layers of overlapping remains reflecting multiple historical periods and the convergence of great cultures in the region. The abandonment of these cities reflects not only demographic change but also the marks left on social structure, building technology, and the art of each period. The stories of Kayakoi and Ani are linked to many legends and scientifically unexplained phenomena, from an eerie sense of abandonment to the supernatural tales still told by locals. What remains today is a body of historical evidence, a living archive for studying the transformation of human societies under the influence of natural and human forces, the survival zone and extinction risk of indigenous tribes. The Javari Valley in western Brazil is now one of the world's least explored rainforest regions, home to dozens of indigenous tribes who remain isolated from the outside world. This area covers a territory the size of a small nation with complex terrain, interlaced rivers, and dense vegetation. Here, communities maintain traditional lifestyles based on hunting, gathering, and the use of natural resources, preserving native knowledge of medicinal plants and tropical biology. Yet, their existence faces grave threats from external forces. Organized crime, poaching, and smuggling have disrupted social structures and inflicted heavy damage on the local ecosystem. Deforestation, water pollution, and clashes with outsiders have raised the risk of cultural and biological extinction for these tribes. Recent anthropological, biological, and legal studies show that when communities lose traditional territory or are forced into contact with modern society, mortality rates soar due to disease, violence, and food crisis. This not only reduces human genetic diversity but also risks the loss of ancient bodies of ecological and medicinal knowledge, priceless resources for medicine, ecology, and conservation. From a scientific perspective, the Javari Valley is a vital site for studying human social evolution and the processes shaping the relationship between isolated communities and the modern world. Each uncontrolled contact or failure of territorial management leaves irreversible impacts on both humanity and the Amazon's biosphere. Conservation efforts here are more than a fight for land or a handful of communities. They are a race against time to safeguard the crucial links of human and biological diversity. The all-seeing eye symbol. The all-seeing eye is a prominent symbol on the U.S. $1 bill and the Great Seal of the United States. For many, it is simply a familiar image from daily life. Yet, its history is steeped in deeper meanings of power and surveillance. Its origins trace back to the European Renaissance when painters and philosophers used the eye within a triangle to signify the presence of a supreme being, a force able to witness all that unfolds in the material and spiritual world. From there, the symbol spread, becoming associated with a variety of spiritual and philosophical ideals. In the U.S., the all-seeing eye was officially adopted on the Great Seal in 1782. Here it appears atop an unfinished pyramid representing a national ideal still under construction. Below is the Latin phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order for the ages echoing a vision of a progressive and enduring social order. On the dollar bill, this image evokes not just oversight and protection, but also an enduring faith in the nation's permanence. Beyond national symbolism, the all-seeing eye has been used by secret societies such as the Freemasons and others, symbolizing enlightenment and transcendent knowledge. For these groups, it stands for wisdom and serves as a reminder of the ethical responsibilities that come with power and knowledge. Thus, the all-seeing eye has transcended religious and political boundaries to become an emblem of the connection between humanity and universal knowledge. linking the individual to the community and the past to the future. Its many layers of meaning continue to inspire reflection and debate to this day. The Egyptian goddess pendant in Greece. In an ancient tomb in southern Greece, archaeologists uncovered a gold pendant carved with the image of the goddess Hathor, a figure of great importance in the Egyptian pantheon. The artifact was found at the Phocis site and is estimated to date to around 1500 BC. Although the excavation took place in an area connected to early Greek civilization. The pendant's engravings and distinctive cow's ear motif confirm it as a symbol of Hathor, deeply rooted in Egyptian myth. The presence of such an artifact in the heart of ancient Greece not only changes the perception of cultural boundaries, but also opens up new theories about trade and religious exchange between the two civilizations. Previously, most research assumed that direct links between Egypt and Bronze Age Greek centers were limited to ports on the eastern Mediterranean. Yet, the burial of an Egyptian religious symbol with the deceased in Greece shows that objects and beliefs traveled far beyond geographic boundaries, creating enduring exchanges across centuries. The Hathor pendant stands as key evidence for reconstructing ancient trade routes and suggests the rise of a class of people who brokered rare objects and religious symbols among the great Mediterranean civilizations. This discovery raises new questions about the role of Hathor in Western Asian communities and deepens our understanding of the complex flows of culture in the ancient world. Hidden bronze statues and spa in Italy. At an ancient hot ring spa outside the city of Siena, archaeologists uncovered 24 bronze statues originating from the Etruscan civilization, one of central Italy's most vibrant cultures before its absorption by Rome. These statues were discovered beneath layers of sediment, accumulated over centuries at a site that was once a hub for social gathering and healing thanks to its natural mineral springs. The bronzes depict both deities from Greek and Roman mythology and are inscribed with the names of prominent Etruscan families, reflecting a period when local beliefs and foreign influences intertwined deeply. Studies show that the spa was more than a center for mineral therapy. It served as a sacred site where powerful families presented statues as offerings, hoping for the gods' protection. Inscriptions on the bronzes provide valuable records of personal names and social roles within the community. The presence of well-known gods such as Apollo along with many local deities affirms the close relationship between indigenous religious traditions and the cultural influence of Greece and Rome. This proves that religious exchange and adaptation took place constantly on the Italian peninsula, not just in ancient texts, but etched into every artifact. The discovery of so many bronzes in a single spa helps reconstruct the spiritual life, social activity, and power structure of the Etruscan people before Romanization, while also supplying crucial evidence for the evolution of Mediterranean faith and culture. The mysterious artifact in Maryland. In the town of Trapp, a mysterious wooden artifact appeared at the local museum, drawing the curiosity of experts and the broader American antiquities community. The object is handcrafted roughly waist-high to an adult and contains a moving part. Yet, its purpose remains completely unclear on inspection. While it bears the familiar look of agricultural tools or household implements from a previous century, it does not precisely match any known historical design or function from the northeastern United States. Early theories suggested it might be an agricultural device, perhaps for baling straw or aiding bread making, but its construction details do not fit technical descriptions for those uses. Others have speculated that it may have been a tool from a small craft workshop related to leather work or perhaps a locally invented device to solve a specific daily problem. The museum published images and called for the public's help. But so far, No proposed answer has been convincing despite hundreds of suggestions and diagrams being submitted. The story of this strange wooden object has become a topic of debate among American collectors and archaeologists, highlighting a facet of local history that even Maryland's most long-standing residents cannot fully explain until a new document surfaces or a similar discovery is made. The artifact remains a challenge to researchers, emphasizing that the flow of history is still filled with humble mysteries that time and modern science have yet to unravel. Ancient artificial islands in Scotland and Ireland scattered among the lakes of Scotland and Ireland. Many ancient artificial islands known as Conogs remain to this day. Archaeological research dates the earliest Cronogs to the Neolithic around 5,000 years ago. Typically, Cronogs are built from foundations of stone and timber constructed directly on water, sometimes linked to shore by stone causeways or wooden bridges. Excavations of sediment layers around Conogs have revealed large quantities of artifacts, pottery shards, animal bones, tools, and food remains showing that these islands were in use through many historical periods. Evidence suggests that groups in both the Stone and Bronze Ages intentionally built, used, and even reused Cronogs for various purposes. Still, the precise original function of these artificial islands remains undetermined. Some archaeologists believe Cronogs served as dwellings helping communities isolate themselves from wild animals or other people. Others think they were used for ceremonies or religious activities. Moreover, Cronog construction demanded community coordination and knowledge of hydraulic dynamics and durable engineering. The appearance of multiple Cronogs in different regions at similar times hints at a network for sharing prehistoric knowledge in Western Europe. Canaanite clay tablet in Israel. The discovery of an ancient clay tablet in the Negev desert of Israel has provided a deep perspective on Canaanite society in the 2nd millennium B.C. The tablet is dated to about 3,500 years ago and is incised with scenes depicting a man in a submissive posture and another figure wearing the distinctive attire of the ruling class. These details directly evoke the period when Canaan was under the administrative and military control of ancient Egypt's pharaohs. Analysis of the symbols and archaeological context suggests the tablet may have served as a reminder or illustration of the realities of slavery and power at the time. The image of a naked captive contrasted with a clothed overseer underscores social stratification and the Egyptian role in local governance. The presence of such a tablet also confirms that Canaan was a crossroads of major civilizations where struggles over labor and resources left clear physical marks. Multidisciplinary research from archaeology to history focuses on how the tablet reflects Egypt's political, religious, and social influence in Canaan. The find also raises questions about the fate of enslaved individuals, their roles in construction and urban life, and how pharaohs administered local populations. The artifact thus contributes vital links in understanding ancient power relations and demographic change in the Middle East. The Dyatlov Pass tragedy. Russia. The Dyatlov Pass incident took place in the winter of 1959 when a group of 9 Soviet explorers perished in the harsh climate of the Ural Mountains. Search teams found their bodies scattered around a tent ripped open from within. Many victims in light clothing and suffering severe injuries, but with no clear evidence of external attack. The scene with skull and chest trauma and some corpses missing tongues or eyes has fueled decades of theories ranging from the supernatural to covert human intervention. However, recent scientific studies have reconstructed the events using geological, meteorological, and numerical modeling evidence. Results indicate that the most likely cause was a slab avalanche. a large mass of snow suddenly collapsing and crushing part of the tent while the group slept. The force of the snow produced injuries consistent with those observed. The disaster forced the explorers to cut their way out of the tent into the freezing darkness unprepared, leading to fatal hypothermia as they sought shelter. These findings, based on physical analysis and computer simulations, have reasonably explained field evidence that seemed inexplicable for decades, putting to rest much of the controversy surrounding one of Russia's most famous exploration mysteries. If you find these mysterious stories intriguing, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.